Welcome to Outdoors and Country Living. My name's Leanne. In this video, I'm going to show you how I have created a sweet bell pepper sauce to use as a condiment on top of meats, chicken, fish, or you can add it to other dishes to boost flavor, such as adding it to a marinade or a dip in your soups or casseroles. Stick around and see how I do this. Alright, so in this pot, I have chopped up bell peppers and I have removed the seeds. I'm adding in the apple cider vinegar. The recipe will be in the description below, so please check that out for proper measurements. Again, this is apple cider vinegar. And I have a lot of peppers, so that's why I'm adding so much vinegar. De-seeded bell peppers that have just been roughly chopped. And they're of every color. So it doesn't matter what color you use. To these peppers, I will be adding salt, minced garlic, turmeric, and later on we will be adding basil and a little bit of sugar to taste. So we're just going to turn on the heat and start cooking down these peppers. Going to bring it to a boil, and then we will maintain a low boil until the peppers have softened. I have simply put the lid on the pot here to help with the steam, or to help the steam help cook the peppers down. So it's been cooking for a little while. We're at a boil, and the boil is just simply to help speed up the process of softening the peppers. So here they're starting to soften a little bit, but still not quite soft enough yet to puree them. We will be pureeing these peppers with a immersion blender. If you don't have an immersion blender, you can use a regular blender or a food processor. So the peppers now are quite soft. They've cooked down substantially. And I will be adding in the basil next. This is just dried basil that we've grown and dried ourselves. Again, you can do this to taste, and it's going to depend on how many peppers you're using. If you don't care for basil, you could use a different herb or totally leave it out. It's up to you. This recipe is very customizable, we'll say. Alright, so here's the immersion blender. And we won't have to strain this at all because there's no seeds in it. We've already taken them out beforehand. So you just want to puree it until it's all a smooth consistency. Like I said, if you don't have the immersion blender, you could use a regular blender or a food processor to puree this pepper sauce. Once we get it all pureed to our liking, then I'm going to add a little bit of sugar to taste. Since I have bell peppers and apple cider vinegar, the sugar is basically used to help cut the tartness. It won't make it super sweet unless you make it super sweet. I have a lot of peppers, so I'm adding about a half a cup of sugar here. But again, be sure to reference the recipe below, and you can adjust that if needed to suit your fancy. Just mix that in. I'm also going to be adding some black pepper. Again, this is to taste. This is a large batch, so that's probably close to a tablespoon that I'm adding, but yours may be different. This is just kind of a recipe I have come up with according to the things that we like. Just because I had so many bell peppers to use up this year, I was getting a little creative with the use of peppers, both sweet and hot. Alright, so we have the pepper sauce all pureed and all seasoned up. Yeah, it kind of looks like split pea soup, doesn't it? But it's not. This is going to taste really good to boost the flavor in a lot of different dishes. Just get creative with how you use it. Like I said in the beginning, it could be used on top of meat, chicken, fish. Put it in a marinade, put it in a dip, in soups or casseroles. Just a flavor enhancer. We will be water bath canning this. I'm going to use half-pint jars today. You could do a full pint jar, and they both will process for 10 minutes in the water bath canner. So here I have just clean room temperature half-pint mason jars. They're not hot or anything, they're just room temperature. The sauce has cooled down a little bit, it's just warm at this point. And I'm going to start filling the jars. I'm going to fill the jars, leaving about a half an inch to a quarter inch of headspace. This year we had an overabundance of sweet peppers, so I decided to compile my own recipe into a sauce that I think will suit our needs just perfect. I hope you like it too. So once you get all of your jars filled, wipe the rim of each jar with a paper towel. This is a damp paper towel. You could use a damp washcloth as well. Just get all of the residue off if there's any. The sauce actually pours pretty nice. It's not too thin, but it splatters. Once we get all of the jar rims wiped, we will be putting on the lids and the bands fingertip tight. Half-pint jars and full pint jars both process in the water bath canner for 10 minutes. So that's nice. The turmeric has turned this a really nice, deep golden yellow color. If you don't like that color or don't want it, you could leave it out if you want. Like I said, this is quite versatile. You can change it up. Alright, so I've got the jars in the water bath canner and I'm just adding in some warm water. Since the sauce in the jars is warm, I'm adding warm water. Bring the water up 1 to 2 inches over the top of your jars. You will turn the burner on high and wait for it to come to a rolling boil. Be sure to put the lid on your canner when you're done filling it with water and wait for it to boil. Once it's at a rolling boil, set your timer for 10 minutes. After the 10 minutes is up, processing time, we will turn the burner off and remove the lid and wait about 5 minutes before we get them out, just as I'm doing here. I just turned the heat off and took the lid off. You can still see some boiling, but I'm going to wait about 5 minutes before I remove all of the jars. That helps prevent siphoning. With sauce, it's not a high probability for siphoning, but just to err on the safe side, we're going to wait. So here they all are, out of the canner, cooling on some cloth placemats. I told you my batch of pepper sauce was quite large. It resulted in 38 half-pint jars. Now I know you're probably not going to be making that much, but I said I had a lot of peppers. Thanks for sticking around and seeing how I created this sweet bell pepper sauce with things that we like to eat here at our house. I'm looking forward to enhancing the flavor of a lot of dishes coming this fall and winter. I hope you can make it too, and I hope you like it just as much as we do. Until next video, take care of yourself, and we'll see you then.